Hey guys, it's M.K.S here, back in another video. Excuse me. So today is World Anglo Indian Day, so just recently reminded me. So I thought I'd talk about some of the things I would love for Anglo Indians to stand for, do, represent, or whatever. And I know I've covered this video in the past, come to think of it, but for any new people who might be watching my video or subscribing, as I forgot to say actually, as an Anglo Indian myself, it's something I want to celebrate or commemorate or think about and talk about the history or whatever. So I'd love to hear your ideas, especially if you're Anglo Indian yourself, or what you would like to know about Anglo Indians, or what information we could share or whatnot, or what I could even find out about my own community. So yeah, though I was born and bred in the UK, technically I suppose I class myself as Anglo Indian anyway. I think under the Anglo Indian constitution I probably wouldn't come under Anglo Indian, because I think they say you've got to be born in India itself, but I still class myself, I class anyone who has one white and one European and one Indian parent as Anglo Indian. So and I think it's supposed to be if your mum's Indian, but I still, as I say, even if your dad's Indian and your mum was white, I'd still class you as Anglo Indian. But yeah, anyway, so here goes. So here are some of my as I say, some of my ideas to do with Anglo Indian Day and that sort of thing. So yeah, if you see an Anglo Indian, please give an Anglo Indian a hug day today. And for the ladies, please give us a free kiss. Maybe not. Okay, moving on. Anyway, I should keep it family friendly. So anyway, so here goes. So number one, I would love us to unite together as a community and support each other and encourage each other, share ideas with each other, and just generally help each other as much as we can. Especially the poorest members of our community, especially in India, where they are struggling financially. On a more serious note, I know I normally like to try and tell jokes on that, but on a more serious note, like a lot of Anglo Indians are struggling financially, so I think it would be great to support each other. But again, I hope to come to that and some other points that I hope to raise. But yeah, so I'd love us to be united as much as possible and share ideas and learn from each other. And maybe the older generations can teach younger people what they know. And even sometimes older people can learn from younger people, like about things like computers or technology, or things they learn in school about STEM. They can pass on to their older generation. So I'm sure each Anglo Indian will have something we could teach each other. Unfortunately, with COVID, it's hard to see us traveling and all that sort of thing, but it would be great if we could travel and like host reunions and meetups all around the world. I think that'd be a great thing. I hope we'll be able to somehow do that in the future. I'm a bit paranoid about getting my jab, so I don't know about that, but I think it'd be great if we could either meet online or even better in person. But yeah, so even play sports together and things like that. But yeah, again, basically being united together. And again, number two, as I said in point number one, I think it'd be great if we were united, encourage each other, learn from each other, whatever skills or knowledge or experience we have, like teach each other, and like as a community be united as much as possible, be happy for each other's success, and never be jealous of each other if we achieve success as a small community. Like take pride in each other's achievements. I hope that made sense. But yeah, and just be as united as possible, and also work with other mixed race communities as well as people of color generally. People of color, but especially mixed race, yeah, like I think they're called Kristang in Malaysia, and I think there's similar mixed groups in Singapore, Eurasian communities in those countries like Malaysia, Indos in Indonesia, which are another Eurasian group, and mixed race groups, Eurasians in Singapore as well, and like coloured, what they call coloured in South Africa. Like I think it'd be great if somehow we can network together and like lobby together for political representation, excuse me, internationally, so we get recognized and we get rights. Like a lot of our rights are being taken away, certainly in India and maybe in other countries. I think it would be great if we had strength in numbers by working together. I'm sure other Eurasian communities can hopefully help us, and we can help each other. Again, we can learn from each other and support each other politically and in business and in areas like STEM, technology and things like that. And that sort of thing. Number three, I think we should stand for, again, I suppose I'm being a bit biased. I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I'm being a bit biased in terms of like what I stand for. So again, I'd love to hear from fellow Anglo Indians and their opinions about what they think we should stand for. But I think we should stand for libertarianism, live and let live, as long as you're within the law, as long as you obey the law, I think we should support you and say you should be able to do what you want, and not like tell businesses or individuals what to do with their money or their life or their body or whatever. Generally speaking, we might be able to encourage people or advise people like to give more to charity or to do certain things, but I think we should never force people to do things against what their free will or freedom or free choices are, just as we probably wouldn't want them to tell us how to live our lives. So I'd love to encourage libertarianism and those sorts of political beliefs, but again, sometimes encouraging people to give charity, but if they don't want to do so, I think that should be up to them what they do with their money or their body or their time, their labor or whatever else. Generally speaking, as much as possible, again, as long as they're within the law. But like, I think if people do things like tax avoidance, tax evasion is legal, but tax avoidance, I think we should just leave that between them and the government or whatever. But I like to stand for lower taxes and more freedoms anyway, but obviously it's easier said than done. But I still think we should do a lot to tackle poverty, but through free choice, not through force. Number 4, I'd love us to also, talking about standing for what I'm biased towards, I'd love us to be pacifists, not joining in militaries, gangs or terrorism or anything that involves crime, criminality or violence without, unless it's in self-defense or defense of people who are vulnerable or things like that. I love us to stand for peace, love and things like that, and like anti-violence, rights for animals, animal welfare, and that sort of thing. Again, I hope to cover that in more detail as we go along. But again, yeah, so I don't think we should join militaries. I think like the Anglo Indians who live in India itself or even other countries, I think, say in terms of India and Pakistan, I think instead of helping India to fight Pakistan, I think we should look at how we can help as many people as possible in India and Pakistan, as well as the rest of Asia, to unite. I know it's not going to be easy like this, or maybe I'm being a bit of a dreamer here, because there's a lot of division, but I think we should try and unite people and tackle violence instead of talking about joining militaries or violence or taking over people's country or whatever. I think we should maybe work on security, like if people come over the border or whatever, or go from one country to another with weapons, we could like work in security, but I don't think we should work on like wars or invading other people's countries. So generally speaking, I'd love us to be pacifists, conscientious objectors, and only use violence in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable, and things like that. So maybe even we could learn martial arts or things like that to defend ourselves and others, but not use it unless we have to. So I hope that made sense. Again, violence really as a last resort. If we can talk our way out of trouble, we should use that. But if we need to, then maybe I'll say in self-defense or defense of the vulnerable. But again, I don't think we should join militaries, gangs, or terrorism or anything like that. And again, I don't think we should break laws or use violence unless self-defense. Number 5, I think it'd be great if we could listen to each other, hear each other's ideas, and share ideas again, and share what I'd love to hear different Anglo Indians' opinions, as well as working again with mixed race communities around the world, and that sort of thing. Number 6, I would love for Anglo Indians to, again, another bias of mine, I'd love Anglo Indians. All these, I suppose, are fairly biased in a way, but I think they would make the world a better place, generally speaking. But a bias of mine, excuse me, would be for Anglo Indians to support Italian football. Got one of my Italian tops on here. But yeah, I'd love us to support Italian football. And in the future, again, I'd love us to go to Italy, share our ideas and practice with Italians. I've got ideas about, like, I know this video is going on a bit long, so, but yeah, I'd love for Anglo Indians to like play friendlies with, like, especially youth teams in Italy. Like, we could play as AC Milan playing against Inter Milan, like in AC Milan's kit and playing against each other, but or vice versa. But sometimes we'd wear Inter Milan's kit and play against AC Milan teams, but it would be actually to help them to practice, not really as a rivalry, but help them to practice. So I hope to develop Italian football and like Anglo Indians to help like practice and get into playing football and practicing together and playing football together, and again supporting Italian teams especially, but Mediterranean teams as well generally, and again especially Italian teams, but Mediterranean teams generally. That's again another bias, because I think we look, well certainly many of us look Mediterranean, but we do come in different shades, because some are a bit more pale and some a bit more dark, but generally speaking I think many of us look, especially the ones who are brought up in the West like England, look a bit more Mediterranean because of our mix. But yeah, so I'd love us to support Mediterranean teams, I say, especially Italian, but also like Spanish, Portuguese, French, and help them to unite together through sport. Number 7, I'd love us to support, excuse me, Celtic, and help Celtic to develop. I think people of colour should support Celtic generally, but especially Anglo Indians as well. I'd love us to support Celtic, and hopefully if Anglo Indians in India itself where the Italian football tops and Celtic tops or kits, other people will also do the same. Number 8, I would love us to work together against white supremacy and extremism, far right extremism, or just generally work against hate and work towards peace and love. And like, I know it's a bit corny for me, but again, work towards peace and love. Number 9, again, I'd love us to share ideas as best as we can, like either online or in person, through different writings and all that kind of thing, and support Indian art and poetry and things like that, and celebrate such. And number 10, I would love us to support the youth, especially in our own community, but just generally support young people, support youth generally around the world, make the world a better place, and again, work on animal rights and supporting the 10% poorest people in every country or community, especially our own, like Anglo Indians in India or places like that where they're struggling to have enough to eat or get by. So it will be difficult to find out, to make sure the money does go to those areas where it's most needed, but I hope we can find a way to do so and work with NGOs and things like that. So anyway, I am out. Peace and love.